Well, here we are, 17 days of it stretching out ahead of us. BBC Two is at the Crucible now for the rest of the morning for the start of the World Championship.
The best 16 players in the world soaking up the last rays of sunshine yesterday before plunging headlong into snooker's compelling annual 17-day campaign to become world champion. It starts right now. It's Crucible time.
What a match, what a performance. Mark Williams, he was going to give up 4 years ago, but he's now back in the big time.
12 months have just gone like that. It's unbelievable. It feels like just a few months ago I was here, but to come back here is nice. And you know, coming out as defending champion with my kids and my wife there is going to be brilliant. The scoreline is going to be relevant. Obviously I want to win, but if I don't, it's irrelevant. I'm just going to enjoy everything about it. Last year, if you go by the form book and the way I was playing, I think I was probably one of the favourites to win it, really. Not by the betting, but the season I've had, I put myself one of the favourites to win it. This year, you know, I'm not one of the favourites to win it, and rightly so, but you know, it can still click here as long as the first round or 2 rounds is the hardest ones to win. If you can get past them, then you know your form definitely get better. Brilliant. The 12 months have been brilliant. I can only really remember 6 months of it, but I'm sure the other 6 was great as well.
Cold in here, innit?
I wouldn't change anything for the world. It's been the best times of my life, and if lightning did strike and I win it again, I definitely will not be playing next season. I'll be having a season off.
Good morning, 10 o'clock sharp, and you are right on time for the start of the 2019 Betfred World Snooker Championship. All of us just love the sense of anticipation and excitement on this opening morning. 950 people are making their way into this iconic little theatre, and they've got their earpieces. Their sweetie wrappers are about to be held in abeyance for the next 17 days, and the crackling tension is about to start. They are about to welcome our defending champion, Mark Williams, who last year produced one of the greatest comeback stories in sport, not just in snooker, when at the age of 43 he won his 3rd world title 15 years after his last. And it's a kind of major trend-setting achievement, that, because a 43-year-old Tiger Woods won the Masters just the other day, although unlike Mark, he did keep his clothes on in the post-round media conference afterwards. Now, we've already had a tournament with a tournament. As you know, only 32 players get to grace the Crucible stage next year, and 16 of them have already qualified by right as the world's top 16 players. The other 16 have to muscle through an absolutely nerve-shredding process, which began 11 days ago. A 128 players arrived at the English Institute of Sport, but by Wednesday, just 32 remained to fight it out for those 16 Crucible places. It was billed as Judgment Day, but it was the judge, in this case Michael Judge, who was on the wrong end of a verdict in an all-amateur contest with James Cahill. And it was James who became the first non-pro to make his way to the Crucible.
I don't really think it's sunk in yet, to be honest. Like, it's been all so hectic this week and stuff, and you know, it's been a lot of tension out there, but I'm just over the moon. I can't really express how I'm feeling, to be honest.
It was a day of firsts. Michael Georgiou became the first player to represent Cyprus on the greatest stage of all, courtesy of a win over Yan Bingtao.
Oh, it's a childhood's dream that's come true, to be honest. Ever since I can remember, I've grown up watching it. I've seen some fantastic things on TV, and the fact that I'm going to be stepping out in the same arena. It's what I've worked for, and you know, it's like I said, the feeling hasn't sunk in yet, so I'll probably wake up in tears tomorrow.
5 Chinese players made it through qualifying to join number 10 seed Ding Junhui. 4 of them are debutants and 7 qualifiers, and all are making their first appearance at the Crucible, a record number and the highest since 1999. Scotland's Anthony McGill has been there 4 times before, including a memorable run to the quarters on his debut in 2015. But he had to stage a huge fight back from 7-2 down to beat Rob Milkins.
I've actually done best as a qualifier. I've played there twice as a seed, twice as a qualifier, and my best results have been as a qualifier, so that may be an omen.
There were a few old hands on show as well. The 2006 champion Graham Dott cruised through his 3 matches, dropping just 8 frames, and Joe Perry made sure of his 16th Crucible appearance, losing just 5. After his fireworks last year when he knocked out Ronnie O'Sullivan, remember Shouldergate? Ali Carter was already eyeing up his next potential victim.
I'm going to be playing a top 16 player. Obviously there's some in there that you'd like to avoid, but there's some in there that you wouldn't. You'd quite, you know, if you have to play someone, there's obviously a top 8 and a bottom 8, and that's not necessarily how the rankings lie, but we'll see.
Barry Hearn and John Parrott's rummaging in the bags didn't produce a repeats O'Sullivan-Carter clash, but it did serve up a whole host of fascinating lineups. So Mark Williams goes for title number 4 against London's Martin Gould to start. Staffordshire's Dave Gilbert, seeded for the first time, meets the dangerous Joe Perry. Crucible Hardy annual Barry Hawkins plays Li Hang, one of those 4 Chinese new boys and the best ranked. 3 trophies under his belt this term. Kyron Wilson meets Perthshire's debutant Scott Donaldson, runner-up the last 2 years here. John Higgins returns to face his nemesis Mark Davis. 2 former world champs, Bingham and Dock, on a collision course in round 1. The 2005 winner Sean Murphy meets newcomer Luo Hongheo, 92 in the world. Fancied Aussie Neil Robertson takes on the first Cypriot to play here, Michael Georgiou. Mark Selby, finally deposed as number 1 this season, takes on China's quickfire Zhao Jintong. Luca Brecel, a seeded player, faces Tyneside's Gary Wilson. After a great season for Jack Lazowski, his reward is a 2-time finalist here, Ali Carter. Former Masters champ Mark Allen and Chengdu's maximum man this season, Zhou Yulong. Judd Trump, many people's pick this year. Tricky start, though, against Thailand's lightning-fast tip Chaya. Former finalist Ding Junhui, still seeking that world title, up against Glasgow's Ant McGill. Hugely talented Scott Stephen Maguire and Tian Pengfei meet for the first time tonight. And it's James Cahill, the Blackpool amateur, with a date with snooker's main man, the Rocket. And yesterday, the 16-seeded players came together on the eve of the championship at a media day. Ronnie making the point that this event, this annual event, is about as long as an Olympic Games. It is the ultimate test of concentration, as well as skill and nerve. It is sport's annual rite of spring, and that is why we love it. So 32 guys in it to win it once again, but opening morning would not be the same without these 2 gentlemen, Steve Davis, John Parrott. This is sport's ultimate long-haul journey, John. Are you strapped in and ready again?
I don't know about anything else. I'm really nervous. It's not because of TV. I mean, it's just this place, the venue. When you come in, it just gets your sweaty palms, and it's a marathon of the mind. We know that, 17 days, and the best player wins here.
Now, we know that Mark Williams is going for back-to-back titles. It's only been done by 5 men. He could be the 5th to do this. What is it like, the feeling of coming back as defending champion? He's old, but does the feeling ever get old?
No. First-time winners of this event have notoriously failed, possibly because they felt that all eyes are on them. Maybe not, but that's how you feel about it. And we know full well that they've fallen at the first hurdle sometimes. But Mark Williams is experienced enough, and he's also such a laid-back competitor. I don't think that's going to affect him, even though a lot more eyes will be on him to see how he performs this year. He, as a person and as a competitor, doesn't struggle in that department. So that thing about, he doesn't give a monkeys, to some degree it's true, even though he's a fierce competitor on the table.
Well, I know that he's parked the party bus up in the last couple of months. Joe and the family are here. Lovely to see you back. And I know he's been practising hard, yep? Big nod there, definitely. OK. But if not Mark, then who is going to win in 17 days' time? So many players have starred this season, but perhaps eclipsing them all, Ronnie O'Sullivan. A truly record-breaking season for the Rocket, John.
It's just stellar, isn't it? I mean, he's gone past 1,000 centuries, which you'd never thought you'd see, don't you? He's at 19 majors now as well. He's going to be £1 million prize money in a season, which is phenomenal. And there's no sign of his powers waning. If anything, he's as good as he ever was. So, quite rightly, he's the favourite. But you do have to look at the stats, and he hasn't won here since 2013.
Well, he's also made the 1,000th century of his career this season. So many amazing things that he's achieved. But he is of the opinion that if it isn't Ronnie, is it going to be Judd Trump? Is it going to be Neil Robertson? Because they appear to be the trio who really have made the most headlines this season.
Yeah, well, Judd Trump and Neil Robertson certainly have been the ones that look like they're coming into the form that's required to win the World Championship. But it's such a tough tournament, and if you're going to start to disregard the likes of Mark Selby, who, if he gets on a roll, is just a phenomenal competitor here, yeah, you've got another thing coming. Plus, there are so many other great players. I mean, the standard seems to always get better. We've got, I think, 6 Chinese players coming through this year. Every one of those has obviously proven their worth. A couple of really exciting players that are coming through as well, Tepchai and also Zhao Xingtong, who I think are marvellous players that are coming to the type of performance that they can actually play in the World Championship. They've been promised a lot for a while, but now I think they're sort of coming of age. And then every player, like, you know, the other players we've got playing today, every player's got a chance.
And we've got our first amateur here in James Cahill. He's drawing the Rocket on Monday. That'll be fascinating. For you, John, what's the plum tie in this first round, though?
Well, it'd be disrespectful of me to turn around and say take a sickie on Tuesday afternoon, but that's what you should be doing, because you want to see the match between Judd Trump and the Thai boy Tepchai Unnu. They're 2 left-handers, 2 brilliantly talented players. If Tepchai turns up and plays like he can do, that will be a fabulous match to watch. So put a date in your diary, Tuesday afternoon. That is a session you do not want to miss.
Absolutely. Well, we've got 46 sessions of snooker to go between now and the 6th of May. Energy drinks at the ready, and that's just for us, I think, and everybody else in this Crucible Theatre. But we are about to welcome back the defending champion. He is backstage, and this is the fella that he's going to be playing on this opening morning. It's Martin Gould, the 37-year-old pinner potter and Motorhead devotee. He's come through qualifying to make it in here for the 9th time in his career. First competed at the Crucible in 2010. He's delighted to be back after missing out last year. Twice passed the opening round, but yet to go any further. But he does own the superior record in matches against Mark Williams, having beaten the Welshman en route to his only big world ranking title, the German Masters, 3 years ago, and again at the Welsh Open earlier this year. So they are just 2 of the players we'll be watching on this opening morning. But getting us underway and fit to burst with excitement is the best MC in the business, Mr. Rob Walker.
Good morning and thank you. After 11 long months of crisscrossing the globe in search of glory, the best in the world have returned here to the sport's spiritual home, ready for the big one. This is Sheffield, this is the Crucible, and it's time for the 2019 Betfred World Snooker Championship. Please welcome the very first player to emerge ready for this 17-day marathon. A former Newcastle taxi driver back for a second appearance at this iconic venue. Here after excellent wins over Dominic Dale and Liang Wenbo in the qualifiers. Former China Open finalist, quarter-finalist in this season's World Open, Gary Wilson. And his opponent. In 2012, he set the current record of youngest player to appear at the Crucible. 7 years later, he's back for a 4th attempt, a proven ranking event winner, now firmly established in the top 16. Made the semis earlier this month in China, hitting form at just the right time, is the Belgian bullet, Luca Brecel. And on table 1, after missing out last year, he's back for a 9th Crucible campaign after a fine run at the qualies. Former PTC Grand Final and Aussie Open finalist, he became German Masters champion 3 years ago and won this season's Championship League. He is, of course, the Pinner Potter, Martin Gould. And finally, a man who produced one of the most memorable victories in Crucible history last year. Late night kebabs, potting with his eyes closed, naked press conferences. He gave us absolutely everything and has since spent 49 weeks on the lash, celebrating every single second. Well, this morning, ladies and gents, he's putting down the beers and picking up the cue, and he's ready to go again. So please welcome the reigning, defending champion of the world, Mark J. Williams.
Now that is what you call an introduction. So best of 19 frames these matches in the first round of the World Championship over 2 sessions, first 9 frames to play this morning. Luca Brecel, Gary Wilson is on the red button and online. Indeed, every match is live on at least one BBC platform in Sheffield. But let's watch the defending champion for now as we say good morning. And here we go again to Stephen Hendry and Dennis Taylor.
A very good morning, Hazel. Good morning, everyone. And day 1 of the Betfred World Championship. What an atmosphere in the Crucible Theatre. The defending champion hasn't hit the first ball. They've just broken off on the other table, but it is Mark Williams who gets this match underway. And a pretty good break off. Can't beat day 1 at the Crucible, Stephen.
No, it's a fabulous feeling walking out, being introduced as a defending champion. Always traditional. Defending champion plays first morning and first evening. Be very interesting to see how Mark plays in this championship, because a couple of months ago he was at a tournament. He said he was really looking to get his game sharp for the World Championship, and Mark doesn't normally plan his next meal, never mind look 2 months ahead to a tournament. So that was a really interesting insight. But tough match today. Martin Gould likes being on the big stage against a top player, likes to be a giant killer. That's an excellent safety shot from Mark Williams, got the pace of the table.
There's the fabulous Crucible Theatre with the partition in the middle. When there's 2 tables, the spectators are so close to you. I keep saying, sometimes if you're on the cushion, they can almost touch your cue. Where else can you get that close at a sporting event?
Looks like he's taking this red on, the left corner. He doesn't want to catch this too thin or too thick. That's an excellent pot. He is a fabulous long putter, Martin Gould. No colour coming from it. It was an excellent cue ball if he missed the pot. We see a lot of firsts at the Crucible, Dennis, but I've never ever seen a player have a pouch for the chalk at the Crucible before.
Oh, I've just spotted that. Well spotted, Stephen. Let's have a look. That's maybe a sort of an English version of a sporran. That's the last thing that he wanted to see. He gets a terrific round of applause, but he was playing a safety shot. He can't believe that he's knocked the green in. He's a great long putter, but it's not that good.
I was watching Mark Williams there. He was laughing. He was delighted to see that green go in. I can get through to this red closest to the right corner. Well, what 3 pots, but where's the white? Well, it's not going to reach. It's definitely in line for that corner pocket. What a start.
And this time he will be playing the safety shot. Well, he did previously when he fluked the green.
I'm going to go on record, Dennis. I don't like the pouch.
Yeah, I'm with you, Stephen. Keep the pouch for the practice room. How well has Martin Gould started? I mean, there's another fabulous pot into the middle pocket. Of course, he has beaten Mark on 2 occasions. They've played each other 3 times. It's amazing with the glasses. I remember asking Martin, do you look through the glasses or over the glasses? And he doesn't know. Sometimes he does both. You can see there. It's amazing that he can play with the normal specs.
He's striking the cue ball very crisply already this morning. Ball's going into the middle of the pockets. As I said before, he's not frightened of causing an upset. He likes to be on the big stage. 2 or 3 inches short with the cue ball there. Wanted to be obviously a bit straighter on these 2 reds just at the back of the bunch. He could play the red to the left middle. That will get him on the black.
Okay.
Still plenty of reds available. There's 4 reds in good position.
$17.
Of course, the qualifiers are match fit. They've played 3 matches to get here. He had a tough one against Daniel Wells in the final qualifying round. Managed to beat Daniel, who's starting to play some of his best snooker. Beat Daniel 10-8.
25.
To give himself a shot at the defending champion. But what a start this is for him.
26.
Now, has he got the angle? I think he has to screw back for those 2 reds that are still available. You can see them there. So important if you could win the opening frame with a sizable contribution. Just a little bit of a noise backstage somewhere there. So as you can see, just the 1 more red available. Let's see how he leaves himself on that red. Yeah, purposely leaving an angle. When he pots this, he'll open quite a few more of the reds up, as long as he doesn't lose the cue ball. Now that's going to be unlucky if he can't get through to the pink, because the pink's blocked the path for the blue. Well, the way he's looking, I think that there's plenty of room to pass the pink. He's just checking to see if the pink spot's available. So that last shot has really given himself a great opportunity to go on and take this opening frame.
Pink ball.
Just got to get this one correct. No, doesn't want to fall in behind the black, and he has done, believe it or not. And it all depends where the pink goes. There might still be one red available. Referee Leo Scullen just asked him to give him a second to get the pink spotted. And what a landmark for Leo. He'll be refereeing the final for the first time. That's terrific to see that, Stephen.
Yeah, this will be one Scotsman in the final. Eh?
48.
He is on this red, Martin Gould. Dennis and I thought it was going to be Snooker. He may have to just get a touch of left-hand side, but it looks clear. Very confident start, you have to say.
49.
Yeah, see the check side. You just had to put a little dab of left-hand side in the cue ball there to be able to pot the red.
What a start, as we said a few times. It takes me back to the 80s and the 90s. Steve Davis used to start so well here at the Crucible, and the number of times he made a century in the opening frame, as indeed did Stephen, who's sitting next to me throughout the 90s. You always got off to a fast start.
Yeah, and it's a good start in another way for Martin Gould, because in this championship, if there's a round where the seeds are more vulnerable, it's definitely the first round. So if he can pile the pressure on Mark Williams early in this match,
64.
Can make it very difficult for the defending champion.
Martin Gould, 64.
No century break. Is Mark going to come and get a bit of practice? Yeah. Well, in fact, the frame is not safe. 59. You need all blacks though. Yeah, 69 the difference with just 59 on, so frame safe.
Frame conceded, frame Martin Gould.
Well, Mark does concede the opening frame, so what a start for the Pinner Potter, as he's known. Terrific break to give him the first frame. He leads 1-0.
He does, and that wasn't in the script. Mind you, we have hightailed it across Tudor Square here in Sheffield, and we're settling not into a spaceship, but this is the Sheffield Winter Garden, where, as ever, we're going to be broadcasting between now and until the second Thursday of the championship. Yes, we have to count it in weeks. It really is that long. And that will be the semi-finals, and at that point we'll be moving into the Crucible itself, right up against the table. But until then, it is a beautiful place to be, and a grand old view via our monitors of what's going on. And Gould has a pretty decent record, fellas, against Mark Williams when you look back over the years, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think it's 2-1 ahead in the ranking events, but overall he played 8 times. It's 5-3 to Gould, so listen, he's no fear of reputations anyway. He just comes out and plays his game, and he's got some great results behind him. He doesn't mind who he plays against. He just goes and does his own stuff, and he's a very dangerous opponent and a tough draw for Mark first round.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and for those people that don't really know the history of this event, so far the likes of Martin Gould and the 16 qualifiers have already played 3 very hard competitive best of 19 matches, effectively in the past week, something along those lines. Yeah. So they are match sharp. You could argue they could be a little bit burnt out because of that, but they are match sharp. So Mark Williams struggling for a bit of form of the latter half of the session of this year's events. The right way to go about it from Martin Gould's perspective is to just carry on as normal.
Yeah, it's a heck of a way to practice, but it's got him here, and he's in control so far. Back we go.
Another excellent safety shot from Mark Williams. And that cue ball glued to that ball cushion, forcing Martin Gould to just play a containing safety. Nine frames in the first session of this 19-frame match. It's always nice to just get some sort of lead going into the evening session. I said before, Mark's the only match that will finish today. Finishes tonight.
That's a snooker player's pet hate when you play a safety shot and you catch one of the balk colours. And I'm not sure if the red next to the blue goes up into the corner. It looks as if they're... No, it's a bit tight, that. So, okay on this occasion, hitting the yellow. Let's see, there's I'm not sure what the referee just was with the tournament director, so... Oh, it's the monitor at the back, yeah, that's... Just adjusted that.
Thank you.
Just asking the referee to have a look at the situation just in case he misses the reds here. There's not much of the red sticking out. Has to get past the pink just to snick it. Very good.
Left Martin Gould. Couple of reds to go for this one. You'd say it's easier pot, but it can leave more if he misses this. Stunning the cue ball for the black. This needs good cueing. Oh, wonderful. Okay, he's hit it a little bit hard and didn't put the red into the middle of the pocket, but it still gives you great confidence when you're knocking those in.
Yellow ball. Martin Gould won. 1.
That's another cracking red that he's knocked in there. Couldn't do a lot with the cue ball there, so he's had to leave the red next to the blue. And the only spot available for the
7.
pink is the yellow spot.
Eight.
He's certainly delivering that cue through in a straight line.
Mark Williams is a vastly experienced player, so he won't be, well, he never is too bothered about much that goes on in the table, but he wouldn't like this, his opponent, the way he started. Looking very confident. I must say the table doesn't look the fastest to me at the moment.
11.
Have to stun across. Putting this red to the right corner, miss the bunch, hopefully land on the black. Just looking at the line, the direction the cue ball was going to take after potting this red.
But exactly as you predicted, Stephen, and I mean that was a much better shot than it looked, especially with the rest, and to avoid canning that red going across the table. I mean, he got so close to it. Just have a look at the white here as it passes the red. I mean, he judged that to perfection. Still not straightforward yet by any means. It's not an easy table he's looking at.
I
didn't want that cannon on the red. That spoiled things for him. I think there might just be a wasp around. It's very, very hot outside, and I'm sure I've seen one earlier. Good job. My colleague Stephen Hendry's not out there. He would be out of the arena. He doesn't like wasps.
Martin Gould, 19.
Well, that was testing the table the way he was playing a very slow, thin shot off the red there. Still got it safe, but well, we don't know how the defending champion's playing because he hasn't had a shot at anything. He hasn't had a chance. But as Stephen said, he's well, probably the most experienced player in the field, you would have to say. But he won't be happy with that, and there might be one that'll go in the middle pocket, not sure. He's having a quick look at it, is Martin. It's tight. feels he can just see enough of it, but it does look tight. Yeah, just about. But not the correct angle on the blue as we show you the pot. Had to be very precise with that, but where's the next red coming from? The only way you could get back up to the reds would be from the brown, you would feel. Pink's not ideal, and he's the wrong side of the blue. It looks as if he's just going to take the 5 extra points and play a good safety then.
Six. Martin Gould, 6.
And Martin's turn to catch the colour when playing a safety shot. And this is the first chance for Mark Williams, but going to need a good shot to get onto a colour from that position. Almost dead straight.
1.
Didn't try to do anything fancy with that, but good cueing, and it's always nice to knock a long one like that in.
Mark Williams, 1.
Seems to be the done thing these days. When you're in a position where you may miss a ball, you let the referee have a look so that he'll know where to replace the cue ball. Good judgment there. Just gone a little bit awkward with the pink up the other end of the table and the black not in the ideal spot.
I think he's left us red to the right corner. Has he? No. Thought I just left enough room. You can see, again, you can possibly get to just put a little bit of left-hand side on the cue ball. He wants to play that red because he really wants to move it away from that pocket. Problem is if you put too much swerve, and it's very easy to catch this thick, and you'll leave the cue ball down that end of the table. That's well judged. Very well judged.
1.
Very unlucky with a kiss though. You need a better kiss in the green to leave a easy brown. This blue is a little bit tricky.
Mark Williams pot there.
6.
Just as we say, he just floats the ball into the pocket at times.
7.
Oh, he almost got into that too much there. He just stopped in his tracks, but he's okay. Now look at the table. There's, well, there's 4 reds, fairly comfortable.
Yeah, he'd love to try and get the black back on its spot, wouldn't he? Because those 2 reds below the black spot, it would certainly make
12.
Going towards winning this frame in one visit a lot easier, getting the black back in its spot.
$13. $18. $19.
He's got an awful long way to travel this time with the cue ball. And the pink's in the way, the yellow's in the way. Well, all those colours are awkwardly placed to send the white running around the angles. And he was looking at the brown there, but the 2 reds near the right side cushion, he'd have to lean over those, so that would be very awkward. So he's going to have to leave himself a longish red. That was all he could do there. So a good pot needed here to keep this effort going.
24.
Terrific.
25.
Absolutely played to perfection. Not only the pot, but look at the cue ball. You just stun up in between the 2 reds that are either side of the black spot.
Yeah, that was the shot of the match so far. Beautifully controlled.
30.
Just needed another inch in the cue ball there, though, to be comfortable. Wanted to be playing this red to the left corner, but he's hampered by the other red.
$31.
Dear me. How well did he hit that? He was playing to get on the blue, believe it or not, and just, well, he hammered that into the pocket. Delicate little one here, just to nestle in behind the yellow.
Mark Williams, 41.
Not a bad effort, though. He gets himself into the lead, although it's only 6 points.
This is sort of the frame, though, isn't it, that you'd back Mark Williams. These scrappy frames that you don't need to win in one visit. He's just so good at winning these. That's where his incredible temperament comes in.
What about that certainly scored. Okay, he knew he was leaving a possible pot here, but he's kept those 2 reds safe. Oh, close.
Now he potted a lovely red stunning off 2 cushions a little while ago. Will he play this the same way or just float it in? Just played it plain ball.
1.
little bit unlucky. He was playing for the brown there in such a way that he could have moved the 2 reds, but the white just ran that a little bit further than he intended. It's another good snooker, although with the 2 reds together, it's not going to be a telling snooker, you wouldn't think. Tight in behind the brown would be good, though. He doesn't have to. He could play brown and go in behind the green. Well, there's a clever shot he's played there. Rather than just roll tight in behind it, he decided to open the 2 reds up. There's the opening session at the Crucible Theatre. 10 o'clock start. And that last shot that Mark Williams played, where he didn't just roll in behind the brown, played a clever shot opening the reds up, got a good cue ball, and it's going to pay dividends for him.
That's the thing, you take the other red off the cushion. Thought maybe had too much angle. Could have stunned off the cushion, took the other red out and stayed on the brown. Obviously didn't have the angle to play that shot. Don't know whether he's got just enough angle in the brown. Maybe just to leave the cue ball on the cushion. Maybe leave red to either left middle or the far left corner if it goes past the yellow.
Yeah, if he was right-handed, he could stun in behind the red, but it's awkward for a left-hander. He's going to have to use the rest. And he's going to have to get a little bit of action on it to get back for the blue.
5.
Yeah, it was a pretty good positional shot, actually. But the only problem with, as you said, Dennis, playing for the red into the corner, he's got to put a lot of work into the cue ball now. Whereas if he played it to the left middle or left corner, he would have to do nothing with the cue ball. I have to say, he's looked very sharp. Didn't score a point in the first frame, but it's been very impressive from the defending champion in this frame. Every aspect of his game has looked very sharp. Safety, potting.
Yeah.
One good positional shot here. Screw the cue ball back in a straight line for the green to its own pocket, and you think the frame's his.
Yeah, only needs the yellow and green to leave Martin leading a snooker. Just a quick glance round at the scoreboard will confirm that for him. Oh, he's overscrewed it. You're going to have to pot the green with the rest. It should have been straightforward.
Yeah, if he'd had his hand on the table playing that screw shot, he'd have got it right every time, or 9 times out of 10. But when you play with the rest, it's not quite as easy. Frame ball.
I think he might just be okay. Even if he's snookered, he can swerve around the pink. But he is 23 in front with just 22 in the table, in fact. Yeah, you can just see the edge of the brown.
Williams, 60.
But the balls are not too badly placed, especially the pink, you know, to get a snooker. You want the ball somewhere near a cushion, and probably the pink is the best one. Not from the position he's in here, but if he does get a chance to get in behind that pink. He's hit it much too thick, but, well, listen, hang on a minute. Snooker, but easy to escape from. Trick shot. Yeah. I think. Well, he's called the Welsh potting machine, but doesn't matter about the blue. Martin Gould just nods to the referee, concedes the frame. So both players look to be doing really well. This could be a cracking match. It's one each.
It could be shoulder to shoulder, all levels so far on this opening morning at the World Championship. And these are how the odds stack up. And as you can see, it's Ronnie O'Sullivan, the perennial favourite here, coming to the Crucible, 2-1 favourite. And thereafter, as we talked about in our introduction, Neil Robertson, Judd Trump are next best fancied at 5-1. Mark Selby, not had a great season at all, has been deposed as well, number 1, 9-1. And then you've got Williams on 14s, Mark Allen, Kyron Wilson, John Higgins. And for you, John, the best prices would be where?
Well, to be honest with you, it's you know, the bookmakers don't tend to make too many mistakes. They've got the market pretty much right. I know our title sponsors put up Ronnie the other day at 3-1, enhanced his price in the morning, got knocked over, so everybody took that early. I don't think there's any mistakes on there. The only thing I'd look at, maybe Barry Hawkins at 25-1. He's got a great record at the Crucible. He's always, you always need to have a look at Barry when he plays here. He's such a good match player, plays better. For some reason, when he gets to January, February, starts to play better at the end of the year. At 25-1, he's big. And Mark Selby, listen, if Mark Selby turns up and plays properly, 9-1 is huge for him. But he's just, you've just got the question mark, is he in form?
Yeah, Martin Gould, by the way, not on that graphic, but 200-1. Interestingly, at 14-1, that's our defending champion to try and do back-to-back. If he does win, Mark has said that he will do a naked cartwheel this time. Now, there's an incentive for all of us. Extraordinary.
Yeah, I think there's more chance of him winning the World Championship than being able to do a cartwheel. I've not seen his performance in the gym.
No, neither have I. But we do know that when it comes to ringcraft, there are a few better out there.
That is just a classic example, that frame, the way it was played. I mean, Martin Gould got in early, made 26, and then it was a fiddly frame after that. There's never been a better player on the circuit at winning those types of frames. Listen, he's brilliant at winning all the frames. He can make breaks, the rest of it. But those ones that get bitty and horrible, where the balls are awkward, he is as good as anybody in those types of frames. So if they go like that, Martin Gould will come second.
Back we go, Stephen and Dennis.
Not a bad length for the break-off shot. You're looking to get over on the cushion, over sort of behind the green. It prevents the easy return, which Martin has here available to him. That's just pushed the black into an awkward spot, but look at the cue ball. That's a pretty good return. He can just get past the yellow, and if he takes this pot on, I was going to say, he'll cannon the black out again. So he's just weighing up the options to see if it's worth risking that. He's looked at the safety. He's back looking at that red to the left of the black. So an early key shot here.
One.
Yes. A little bit unlucky. I mean, he was never sure where the cue ball and the black were going to finish, but executed the shot very well. And let's put the black in probably an even more awkward position now. He doesn't, as we've mentioned, he doesn't bother about the scrappy frames. He's so good at them.
Mark Williams, 1.
I think he's covered that one for the right corner. He hit that much too thick. You've got to get a good cue ball to prevent leaving that one that's on for the right corner. So, I mean, the yellow and green's a nice target, but if you don't get it right, you would leave that pot on. And there's an easy escape route back down towards the yellow and green, but you'd have to be very precise. Don't know if he can take this cut on here. Not just a safety shot, but wanted to go over the left side of the table to give himself a chance of covering that red. But maybe he hasn't covered it. But even if he can get through to the potting angle, as you can see, he would cannon the other red and finish in no man's land. Managed to cover the red, as I mentioned, with the brown there.
So, in this Martin Gould, 4. Back. Is that right there, Mark? Yeah. Daisy, could you bring it up, please?
Just asking her to bring it up on the monitor, just to make sure exactly where it was. That's where it was, and let's have a look where it is now. It's spot on. You're absolutely spot on where you were, Leo. And it's
Yeah. Thanks.
just doesn't want to go in off here, catch the jaw of this corner pocket. That's why he needs a thin contact. Doesn't have to play the same shot again. He's caused a bit thick, and that black's been knocked all around the place. It's been on the cushion behind the black spot. It's been in the reds. Now it's over on the right side of the table.
Coming around to look at this red to left corner. I think if he plays it with topspin, he can avoid cannon, and certainly the red's closest to the one he's going to play. Touch on left hand side. Take the cue ball off the side cushion just near the black. In fact, he couldn't avoid the cannon. Well, good job he potted the red. Just thought he could avoid that second red.
Martin Gould, 1.
Similar shot he played previously, thin off the red. And same result.
Foul, and a miss. Martin Gould, 4. Yeah. Turn it up, Mark. You bring it up, Daisy. Yeah. Okay. Martin. Well, they miss. Martin Gould for.
It's amazing that White's catching the jaw of the pocket again, but that's 2 misses.
Again, Daisy, please.
And yeah, you can see the 2 reds, so he will be warned this time. He's got to change his shot selection, because if he misses it again, he loses the frame.
Yeah. Happy? Martin? Action 81, if you don't hit a ball in, you lose a frame.
It's amazing the amount of times when you're in this situation, your opponent's forced into taking a pot on that he gets it. Surely he's not playing the same shot.
There is one red he could roll to, and he could leave the white, but he'd have to get it tight on the cushion behind the black spot area. But that would be very delicate.
See what I mean?
Well, at least he didn't drop nicely on the colour.
Mark Williams, 1.
And that was a delicate shot to try and nestle in behind the brown from that angle, and he hasn't achieved it.
Yeah, it was a high tariff shot, wasn't it? If he got the snooker, look at where the reds are. There was nowhere for Martin Gould to get safe. Martin now playing a similar shot, thin off this red. Can he get it right? Yeah, perfect. Okay, maybe the cue ball's a bit slow, but got the contact. And he left Mark Williams a tempter here. The 2 reds that are touching, well, he's not tempted at all. So he may have gone for that, screwed the cue ball back. Quite a conservative shot choice, this. Probably for the fact that he's got a big target with the brown, green and yellow. For lane snookers, playing good safety shots.
Yeah, there is a gap for Martin to play back down the table. The only thing is the red he's playing, he's going to cannon into other reds, so he's got to make sure he gets a good cue ball here. Bit thin. I'll tell you what, that's a pretty good result.
Mark Williams, 4.
The white going in the pocket, because had it caught the jaws and come back in amongst the reds, he could have left Mark in. As it is, everything's safe.
What's the cover for that red near the right corner? He's got it. Excellent safety shot.
Thanks, Martin. Thank you.
How they left the red when he made contact with the left corner. And so can he pot it and stay for the black? Nice little touch shot, this. Is it going to reach? It's going to reach.
One.
Well, he's left himself a tricky black. You expect him to get it, but it's a blind pocket. Which means when he gets down to play the shot, the pocket's not actually in his eye line here.
Sometimes when you watch Mark Williams, it's like he's playing in slow motion. It's such a wonderful touch in this situation here. So it looks as if he's put an awful lot of hard work into
16.
Try and defend his World Championship here.
Yeah, since the second half of, or the second 3/4 of the second frame, he's taken control of this match. Martin Gould started very impressively in the first frame, won that frame without Williams scoring a point. But since then, the defending champion has dominated this match in every department.
24.
Played to perfection. So important that he got the right side of the blue there. Just taking his time here. It's not a straightforward chance, this, where the reds are sitting. They're pretty good, but still got to be careful. Once again, well played.
30.
Didn't play that as well. Light. Just didn't seem to get enough check side on the cue ball. Might have to leave himself a distance red after this black. And he's not travelled far enough again. As I said, I think the table's not as fast as I think the players are normally used to. These shots, very often you miss them thick because you're playing it with a touch of left-hand side, and that can push the cue ball to the right-hand side of the red. Right in the middle.
39.
Just struggling to get perfect position in this break, Mark Williams. Taking the blue to the left corner and screwing the cue ball back. There's reds available, I think. The three reds nearest to the bottom of the table, one will definitely pot to left corner. He's playing the yellow with topspin. I beg your pardon, he's playing the green. I'll get it right in a minute. Green around the angles then. I thought the blue was easier, but he's played this superbly well. So he could have played the blue a direct screw back.
42.
Cue ball was definitely doing more mileage playing the green.
Just a little bit of noise at the mid-session interval on the next table. You can see the spectators just stretching their legs.
43.
Oh, he's unlucky. He's very, very unlucky.
As quiet as possible, please.
It was a good shot, but the red, he had the cannon, couldn't avoid the cannon, has blocked the path for the black. Very unfortunate there. Because if that red hadn't have finished where it did, the frame would have been over shortly.
Mark Williams, 43.
Pushed the brown into a safe position. He could quite easily have tried to get in behind the yellow, and Green would just show you the shot again. I mean, he played that so well, but unlucky for that red to block the path for the black. But the last shot he played was quite clever. He could quite easily have tried to get the snooker, but he purposely put the brown safe as a little bit of insurance. But what a shot he's taken on here. And that was probably just a bit too difficult for the pinner Potter, as he's known.
One.
Beautifully played.
What?
Just a red and colour would be enough. Well, I say that there's a red up the other end of the table, so there's still a possible 51 there at the moment.
Two choices here, yellow to play for the red and bulk, or blue into the left middle to leave one of the two reds to the right middle, but yellow's obviously the straightforward shot.
Just a quick glance round at the scoreboard there, which will tell him that he only needs this red, and got to get the yellow back on the spot. Leo, with all the extensions and that, he forgot about the yellow.
8.
He has looked very focused to me, Mark Williams. Just shrugged off that first frame. Do you believe him, Dennis? If he wins this, he won't play at all next season?
Wouldn't be surprised, but it's the cartwheels I'm a bit concerned about. Doing cartwheels, I don't think so, Mark. Doesn't matter about missing that red.
Mark Williams, 13.
Would have liked to have cleared the balls up, but barring snookers, he should get himself into the lead.
Yeah, it's always, you know, try and pot the next red after you leave your opponent in a snooker. Just try and stop your opponent getting back to the table. If you're here for 17 days, I mean, the amount of stress you could cut out of your game, but that should be the end of the frame now.
7. Mark Williams 7 and 3.
Just seemed to drift slightly that, but it didn't really matter. So Mark Williams, after not potting a ball in the opening frame, it's normal. Service resumes. He's 2-1 in front now.
And just some touches, some nuances of the nous that we've come to expect from Mark Williams if we go a wee bit further back in that frame, John.
Oh, I mean, he played 2 lovely shots at the start of it. I mean, Martin Gould must have thought he played a good shot there to get out of it, but he drops this in absolutely dead weight, which in itself was a decent shot. But look at this he's left in. This is a horrible little shot into a blind pocket on the black. You can't see any of the pocket here. And these are really awkward. I mean, who practices these sorts of shots? These are absolutely horrible. But he takes it on, knows full well he's got to go for it full blood. If he drops it in, he's going to give himself a brilliant chance. But as I say, Martin Gould must have thought, oh, I've got away with that one when he played the safety shot. But he just drops this in and goes on to make a brilliant break. And that's Mark Williams in a nutshell.
And he plays a sort of different type of game. He strokes the balls in very softly. I mean, the next 3 shots after that, he didn't use any effort. I think those 5 shots were carbon neutral. But he does roll the ball a lot more. He doesn't punch it as much as the top players, but not say the top players, as a lot of the other top players. But what that does is, as long as you don't get a kick on these types of shots, it gives the ball every chance to be swallowed up by the pocket. So for that reason, I think he's quite a canny player.
What do you detect about his level of desire to go back to back here? Because there's been 1 or 2 things that he's tweeted and 1 or 2 things he's been a little unhappy with, because clearly a lot of focus on his colourful reign as world champion, but he's pretty serious, you would expect, about coming back here.
I think he's probably got a little bit miffed about it all. You know, he's the world champion for a reason, because everybody turned up to play and he won last year. There's no fluke about it. Nobody flukes a world championship. So he's probably a little bit miffed about some of the things. I mean, he's coming under the radar somewhat. No one's mentioned him as a winner. You know, Mark Williams in a dangerous mode like that is dangerous.
Yeah, well, he's not front and centre of all of the literature and the billboards about coming back to the Crucible. Maybe that just puts a little bit of fire in his belly, though.
Yeah, as world champion, you'd expect to be sort of in the forefront of any type of advertising that was around the game. And actually, that makes Mark Williams quite a dangerous competitor, I think, because he's got sort of, a little bit more to play for in a very strange way. Not that you need that much more for the World Championship, but if you can have something to focus on, apart from the fact of looking over your shoulder, worrying about trying to defend your title, I think it's all to the good.
Okay, well, we've got 1 more before the interval. Let's get straight back over to the Crucible.
Mark just back into the arena. So.
Thank you. Frame 4. Martin Gould to break.
So we will
Quietly,
have an interval
please.
after this frame. As I said, the play still hasn't started on the other table, so a bit of noise around the Crucible.
When you're playing these long 2-session matches, as we watch Martin Gould misjudge that shot, you're always looking to take a nice lead into the 2nd session. If I was Mark Williams, I'd be looking at 7-2 would be my ideal outcome. You'd take 6-3, obviously. But you can win these matches in the 1st session. Excellent pot, and he's got a beautiful angle on the black. The 2 reds directly above the black. Cannon into the right-hand side, one of those. Stunning in rather than a screw shot. Well, I didn't think he would play with as much bottom on the cue ball. That's the reason the cue ball's ended up in this cushion. If he's stunned in, Cue ball would have ended up going towards the right-hand side cushion. I think the likes of Ronnie O'Sullivan would have definitely been stunning into that red. Higher up in the cue ball. Okay, you have to say still a little bit unlucky not to have an easy pot to go at, but I think it was the wrong way to play the shot. This red is very tough. View of Mark's fan club up there, his wife Jo. Oh, lovely pot. I think it's end of break though. This yellow is very tough to the right middle. Be a brave shot to take on. He's looking intently at it. A very aggressive play. Nice, had a look at the potting angle. This is a tough shot. Can concentrate 100% on the pot. He's guaranteed to be in the red. The path the cue ball is going to take. But he'll be leaving the lot on for his opponent. And yeah, decided against it. He fooled us all. Came round to look at the potting angle and played the roll up, but he's left the pot.
How much is the last two frames taken out of Martin Gould, because he hasn't had much to go at. Oh, cracking shot there. And you say he's been frozen out for the last couple of frames, you have to say, but that's a terrific opener there. Now, can he do what he did in the opening frame and make a sizable break here?
Played for a red to the right corner, but he's on this one to the middle.
Nine.
He was just a little bit hampered by the red that was near his bridge hand. He had to have a longer bridge in playing that shot, and that's why he's just got into the cue ball a little bit too much. This black is now missable. Be delighted with that little kiss on the red, even it to the right middle.
16.
That can happen when you try to force him into the middle pockets. He wanted to get a good angle on the pink there. Didn't expect him to miss that though, but you know, at that pace, if you touch the jaw, that's what'll happen.
One.
Little cannon on the red to the left of the three. They're together. Again, didn't play it. It was a little bit tentative that. He could have played it with a bit more pace and opened the three up. He'll still be on this red. It's closest to the cue ball. The left corner. He does play those shots different to a lot of the top players.
9. 11. 12.
Even in the best of 19, you can always pick a shot out that's a little bit of a mini turning point, even, as I say, even in a long match. That red that Martin tried to force in the middle pocket, you know, could
15.
Prove to be one of those little turning points. Because he'd got in with a cracking opening red. And how costly is that miss going to be? He would never have missed it just dropping it in, but he had to force it in to get over on the pink. Oh, he's played that well. And once again, if he wants the little triangle of reds, he could cannon into those. He doesn't have to do, he can drop this in. There's a couple of reds available, maybe leave the cannon for later, which is what he's doing.
Yeah, it's just not the way he plays, is it? He likes to pick the reds off. Again, that black was just dropped in dead weight. I see a few players might have gone lower in the cue ball, stunned into those three reds, as you say. He does have his own way of playing.
24.
Still left himself a little bit straight on this black. Shouldn't be a problem. Screwing back, maybe a little touch of right hand side.
And once again, he's got an angle on the black to cannon the three reds. Will he play for the loose one again? Yep. So he's now got just the one chance where he's got to get his position spot on here.
49.
Yeah, I can't believe he didn't go into the three reds there. He had the perfect angle. Even just a flick off the red that's to the left of the three. He's put all his eggs in one basket. Needs to get it right here. Just flick the red half ball. The red closest to the black. Got it full ball. Okay, still got a pot on to right middle.
47.
This ready makes contact. He just needed to be the right hand side of it, and it would just open the reds up. And the cue ball would have been nicely in the open.
.48.
.41 ahead, so still needs another red to secure this frame. Has he got an angle to come off the cushion and cannon the reds? Well, he thought he could do it directly. Well, there's no way he'll be playing the red that's on the side cushion, you would think, unless he decides to play a kind of a double shot to nothing. It's frame ball. Maybe tempted. The other two reds not being potable may, let's say, tempt him into taking the double to the left middle. And you see, definitely worth the risk. They gave him the cue ball in a safe position. It's been a great performance, Dennis, these last 3 frames.
Well, it really has. And
Mark Williams, 55.
yeah.
Frame conceded.
In
Mark
fact,
Williams.
Martin Gould has had enough, and the defending champion, after not potting a ball in the opening frame, has won 3 in a row and goes to the mid-session interval, leading 3 frames to 1.
Yeah, and Mark just looks up to the gods there because his wife Jo and the kids are all here. The whole clan is reunited as they were on the final night a year ago. And your reaction, guys, to what was a difficult start. He lost the opening frame, but it looks like he's in his groove.
Yeah, very controlled performance from 1-0 behind. And the springboard for that, we're not going to show the shot, but in that second frame, he was in all sorts of trouble. He had to play a sort of half a swerve length for the table to cut a red in. And that sort of kick-started his game, really. And now all of a sudden he looks like he's picked up the reins from where he left off last year. Very assured.
Yes, indeed, John.
I think he's anaesthetised his opponent in the opening session, because it looked like Martin Gould was coming out, with a bit between his teeth. Opening frame was very impressive. Martin, admittedly, he's missed 1 red in the middle there he should have missed, but the rest of it's been very impressive, and his quality of match play from Mark Williams and his brains and his ring craft. I mean, I love watching him play. He plays like nobody else on the circuit, floats the balls in. I think that's a brilliant opening session there. He's an extremely dangerous opponent, and he's put him where he wants him.
It's going to be very interesting, guys, because he's not actually reached the latter stages of a big world ranking event since last August. Now, after he won the world title, he came back and he won the Yushan World Open out in China in August. And actually, albeit that was fantastic, a 22nd world ranking event, in a way, to use your word, it anaesthetised the rest of his season. He didn't really have to push on from there. And that was possibly, as he admits, maybe detrimental to his season since then.
Yes, I think so, but I think, in the position he finds himself in his career, to celebrate what he did last year, fair enough. Yeah. And I think as the World Championship has started to rear its head, I think he's started to focus in on it. Even though it's nothing to do with playing the game, I think he's been down the gym a bit more and sort of shed a few pounds and got rid of any excess beer he'd been drinking in the first half of the season. But I think he's focused his mind on this. And whilst you can't necessarily kickstart a bad run of form, and you can't get back, you just can't switch to switch, and you can't choose which tournaments. You'd love to, but you can't choose which tournaments you're going to play well in. You can try to prepare for them, but I think he knows from experience how to get ready for the World Championship, and he looks ready.
Yeah, on that point about the celebrating, I did read an article the other day in which he'd said that in his previous years when he was winning the big titles, he would go home, he would have a pint of milk, and he wouldn't go out and celebrate. He's done all of his celebrating for all of those years, and he's condensed it into a 1-year period. And what the heck? Why not?
Listen, why not? I mean, what an unbelievable achievement. He must have thought he was never going to win it again. And what he did last year was just absolutely outstanding. If you can't go and enjoy yourself whilst you're here on the planet, there's something wrong with you. But listen, big players turn up for big tournaments, and there's no bigger than this. So don't worry, he'll be prepared for this one.
Yeah, he's 3-1 up. And if you want to continue watching that one after they come back after their interval, that will be going on the red button. But for the rest of our transmission until 12 o'clock, we're going to focus on events on table 2 for now. And we've got Luca Brecel there, making his 4th appearance at the Crucible since 2012. Turned up here as a very young, in fact, the youngest ever, 17-year-old then. But has yet to win a match inside that Crucible theatre. He's been known as one of these child prodigies in snooker, and has really, in the last couple of years, started to fulfil his potential, becoming the first continental European player, the Belgian, to win a major world ranking tournament. That was about 18 months ago now. And since then, at the age of 24, well, he's become his own man, and a hugely likeable one at that as well. Yeah, seems to have been around for a very long time, Luca. Still remains the youngest ever competitor to feature at the Crucible. He's now based in Rotterdam, and he nicked Stephen Hendry's record way back then in 2012 by about a month. Stephen, of course, still the youngest winner of the event. Yan Bingdao is actually just snuck in there as the second youngest ever to feature here. But as we've been saying, Luca lost his opening match way back then and has yet to win one in 3 previous attempts. But I think, guys, when we've seen Luca, particularly at the Masters earlier this year, really starting to fulfil his potential on the bigger stages. It looked like then, anyway.
He's always looked like someone with an absolute abundance of ability, but he never really had a shot selection to go with it. I mean, he can pop balls off the lampshade. There's a lot of people can, but you've also got to have an appreciation of who you're playing against and the circumstances, and sometimes a little bit of self-preservation where a safety shot might be the prudent thing to do. He seems to have grasped that a little bit more. Obviously, he's won a tournament now. He comes in good form, of course, semi-final at China. So he's coming in good form. He's a player who could beat anybody on the circuit on a given day, and he's certainly improved.
Interesting that he saved his best this season till the last. In the semi-final, as you say, that run in China, just beaten by Neil Robertson, who went on to win the title. So he's warming up nicely, you would think.
Yes, but he is a very open player, and if you're not putting them all the time, then you're going to get picked off. But in his defence on what I've said, excuse me, that I said there, is that to win in the modern day game, you've got to attack, and he certainly does that. And perhaps he should have a word with Joe Johnson, who hadn't won a tournament, won a match at the World Championship, and all of a sudden, when he did win one, he went on to win the World Championship. So, you know, if he gets,
who did he beat in that one?
I remember that one, yeah.
Final.
Who did he beat in that one?
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, good point, well made, absolutely. And he's playing Gary Wilson, who's appearing for his second time at the Crucible. You might remember a couple of years ago, 2017, he met Ronnie in the opening round and he gave him a real run for his money, actually. It was a great game. Ronnie eventually won it 10-7. So we're going to join this one, actually, in the second frame, and it's Wallsend's Wilson, who's already taken the opening frame with a knock of 67. So here we are, frame 2, Wilson leading by 6 points, and a bit of a Celtic connection in the commentary box for this one. Alan McManus teaming up with Ken Doherty.
Oh, wow. It's an error from Gary Wilson and gifted Luca Brecel an opportunity now. And this is exactly what he would have wanted, just to settle down. Ah, heavy contact.
One.
And we'll get the cue ball clean for sure. We've got a nice angle on the black to go into the pack, but I don't think he will at this stage. I think he might try and, well, he's going to play it left-handed, play for the loose red. Amazing how many players can play left-handed or right-handed if they are left-handed, you know. Since, I suppose, Ronnie O'Sullivan has been so good at it over the years. A lot of the players are playing it now. A lot of the younger generation. Oh, that's a wonderful shot. Beautiful shot. And what a beautiful split as well. He couldn't have played that much better, Alan.
Yeah, brilliant shot. And let's just cast our mind back to, remember that shot Gary Wilson
15.
we were talking about in the other corner, wasn't it? And he missed it. That could have been his. Massive shot it was early on, as we said. Now then, Luca. First real proper chance in amongst them. This is where he's been superb this season. 26 tons
22.
already. And he gets on
23.
with it. Just try and just up the pace now, Luca. Yes, on that little point Ken was talking about the players playing with their opposite hand. I was in the practice room yesterday and picking a few balls out for Anthony McGill. He's another who plays with his opposite hand, his left hand. He did a little line up yesterday and he made 31. A 1-3-5 with his opposite hand. So yeah.
Yeah, beautifully controlled.
36.
Off the ball cushion, side cushion. With this red back onto the black.
37.
Definitely one of the fastest players on the tour now, Luca Brecel.
44. 45.
I think is not quite sure of his average shot time, but it's certainly well below 20 seconds. Maybe 17, 18 seconds, somewhere around that mark. There you see it. Gary Wilson.
52.
Just an average shot time in 19 seconds. Luca Brecel, 17.
53.
And he's a lovely player to watch, isn't he? He's got a lovely cue action, strikes the ball really nice out.
Yeah, something else I like about his technique, Luca, if we get a chance to see him, he doesn't, this will sound a bit strange, he doesn't really have a stance. He just kind of stands kind of upright and everything flows. It's just natural, isn't it? There's nothing sort of technical or overcomplicated about the way he plays. Just stand there you see it, quite upright. Long back swing, excuse me, and nice delivery. Gets on with it.
66.
Yeah, that was frame ball. It'd be nice to see if you could go on and maybe make a century. Have the first century of the tournament this year's Betfred World Championship. Just hug the cushion slightly.
Luca Brecel, 74.
Lovely break to 74. Gary Wilson will come back to the table, but Barnes, because Luca Brecel gets off the mark and it's one frame all.
And Belgium's Brecel followed that up in the next frame, knocking in a 43 to take a 2-1 advantage. Brisk business, actually, this match so far. They're averaging about 12 minutes a frame so far. Into the fourth before we head to their interval, and it's Wilson on a break of 19 in this one.
Wow. Not quite sure why he played it with such pace. Could have easily just dropped it in off the one cushion.
19.
And when you hit it with that pace, it makes the pot much more difficult. Why not just play it off one cushion?
Yeah, the watchword there, Ken, isn't it? Is composure. You know, you have to show composure out there. It's easy to sit here and say that. You know, the guys are feeling nervous. He's a qualifier. It's his only second appearance, but you've just got to try. I totally agree. You know, just one cushion guaranteed on the black. And is he going to pay the penalty for that? As Luca just about finds a little gap through to the red, and he's back in amongst them.
And also, even if you are feeling that little bit nervous, Alan, that you try and make the pot as easy as possible. When you hit it that hard, it makes it more difficult. So you try and give the ball the opportunity to go into the pocket. Just play it off one cushion, less pace. Try and make things a little bit easier for yourself.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. You know, there are little reference points on the table, isn't there? Use the table to your advantage any time you can. Just missed a trick there, perhaps, Gary. Oh, this has gone wrong, though. Still on a red, but obviously didn't play the cannon, so recovery needed. Worth mentioning, actually, this as we see the little shot in the blue again, just caught the outside edge of the red. I was going to mention, these players will come back tomorrow afternoon to finish this match. So it'll be a long wait, won't it, at the end of this session, the rest of today and all tomorrow morning. Big shot then.
Luca Brecel, 6.
Yeah, a little bit, not wild, but yeah, not even close. So, Garrett, chance for just to re-establish some confidence. Oh dear, oh dearie dear.
He's been fortunate he hasn't left the red. The yellow has covered it, but he has left this red. And to the bottom right-hand corner pocket. He'll be on pink or black. Great shot. Nicely cued. Held for the black nicely as well. Yeah, good opportunity. He cued that nicely, didn't he? That red just above the black pots as well, but could have played that a little bit better.
8.
Wanted to be straight on this red and be back on for the black now. He's got to negotiate potting this red and use another red to get on a colour, so could go wrong. He's going to screw off the reds. Oh, would you believe it? Very casual shot on the black. Didn't get position on the red. And whatever you do, you don't miss the red, Luca. Make sure the pot. He's given his advantage away. He had Gary Wilson rocking there for sure, and now gifted him a nice easy chance to settle him down again.
Three. Four.
Yeah, didn't quite. I think he was hoping to get the cue ball just a wee bit farther back there, a couple of inches. So forced to play a little cannon, a little delicate cannon. Yeah, once again it's gone half awry, so he's just struggling with the cue ball, Gary Wilson. Beauty of these matches, of course, best of 19.
11.
There's always a little story to tell with him. The story so far has been a good start by Gary Wilson, but since then he's been a wee bit ragged. As Luca Brecel has got a foothold in the match, he just needs to establish himself again. Decent recovery.
Wow.
So again, it's not easy to drop in a red.
$17.
Played that blue nicely. He's got a 2-ball plant on into this bottom right-hand corner pocket now. Yeah, nicely played.
18.
Nice little cannon on the red as well, just to hold the cue ball.
$25. $26.
This is just what Gary Wilson would have wanted, just a nice easy chance to settle him down again.
$33.
Yeah, no reds on the middle, and no reds really are onto corner, so this is important just to get low in this black. Played it lovely.
34.
That's the ideal angle, isn't it? Little cannon then. This is the big shot.
Yeah, played it nicely. Just brushed that red away. Nicely on this. Just a little nudge on the red. Just
41.
opened the path for this red into the corner pocket.
$42.
And once the frame is safe, after he pots this black, still a chance of the first century of the championship, albeit. Yeah, the crowd acknowledges it. It's 49, there's 51 remaining, so he's going to need 3 reds, 3 blacks where possible. 100 break. Of course.
50.
Oh. Well, he'd be disappointed he's missed the black.
50.
Yeah, but barring snookers, Gary Wilson levels things up, and it's now 2 frames all.
It's been good stuff in that match, actually. In fact, they have come back out for frame 5. They're in it at the minute. I can see that Gary Wilson just ahead of Luca Brecel there, 42.25 as we speak. Mark Williams, 3-1 up on Martin Gould. They're still at their interval. And Claire, you'll be able to continue watching that one on the red button and online. And the Wilson-Brecel match also available online. But we're going to take a quick break very shortly. But tell you what, that Wilson-Brecel match is a pretty open game, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and it's going to be pretty speedy as well. And yeah, if you're ever thinking about 10-9s, there's the possibility that's going to be one of the matches that goes that way. But yeah, every credit to Gary Wilkins, to Gary Wilson. He's a much improved player. Fell off the tour, decided to make a comeback to the game, and has pushed himself into the top 32.
Yeah, I mentioned that original match that he had. His first one at the Crucible was against Ronnie. But I tell you what, he didn't shirk it, and I think it was 10-7 in the end. But he really did push Ronnie, and Ronnie had some really nice words to say about him afterwards.
Yeah, he's a proper match player, and the good thing about him is he plays in a really nice club up at Whitley Bay there, and he's an absolute grafter. I know most of the players have to, but he certainly puts the hours in. So what he's getting out of it now is just rewards.
And some people would say he's world rank 32, but he plays better than that. How do you stand on that one?
No, I think he probably plays to the level he's at, but it just shows you how many great players there are. If the 32nd best ranked player in the world is playing to that standard, strength in depth.
Okay, all right, well, it's time for a quick break, lads. It's time to get the kettle on, get you a cup of tea. But we will be back over on BBC One at 1:15, where we'll catch up with those 2 matches, and then it's live coverage from 2:30 as Neil Robertson makes his opening bow against Michael Georgiou. So we've got 67 programmes to go to see who'll be champion, just as Terry was 40 years ago.
It's difficult to explain, really. It all happened so quickly, although it's over 17 days and everybody's tired afterwards, but it seems to go very quickly, and then all of a sudden you've got a cup in your hand and everybody's saying you're a world champion. It's very, very strange. I remember touching it, but that wasn't the special part for me. The special part, take it from me, is beating everybody else. I asked Dennis Taylor if he mind putting it in the boot of his car. After I just beat him. I mean, I didn't think about it. I didn't have a car, you see.